We're now moving on to the circuit for the Pitbike Open, round one of their weekend. Charlie Nesbitt it is who leads the points after the opening round, unbeaten at Llandow in South Wales. But Elliot Pinson, the net leader, he's our pole sitter and the top scorer of the riders lining up here. Pinson alongside James Rose on the front row. They're second and fourth in the championship respectively. The second row of the grid, Max Cook currently third in the standings. Alongside him it's Richard Holmes-Williams, who was well and truly in the mix in qualifying, providing us with a few surprises and a little bit of entertainment there. Ryan O'Grady, who rounds out the top five in the championship at the moment, well, he sits fifth on the grid with Will Howarth alongside him on the 96 bike. We're settling in then for the first race of the weekend in the Pitbike Open category. And we're underway. What a rocket launch that was from P3 from Max Cook. A great start from him to immediately make progress. Working their way through from the grid and away to complete the opening lap. That must be one of the toughest moments, trying to pick your position and make your way through fast, but without ending up in an incident.
Yeah, that's it. The start of the race is the biggest part of the race. If you get a rubbish start, then you can be back in 10th when you've qualified 4th, and it just makes your race a lot harder to be where you should be. But I mean, yeah, if you can get a good start and get off with the front bunch, then you've got a chance.
Well, Max Cook certainly made a good start there to fire his way through from P3. Whether that really converted into position, because it didn't seem to. But at the moment, we've got a group anyway, second, third and fourth positions, all pretty tightly packed out on the circuit, just winding their way through. And again, we're in the same position where you can beat up right up behind someone, but that doesn't necessarily make it easy to pass them.
No, that's it. Sometimes you just got to wait for him to make that little mistake, run a little bit wide and just shove your bike underneath them. But if you can get in front of them and make a nice pass, then it makes it a lot easier.
So at the moment it's second, third and fourth positions that are the tightest packed, coming up the hill and down towards the S's. And again, that's what you were talking about, isn't it? When you've got a long side like that, try and make that into a move. That's what you were saying previously.
Yeah, that's it. It is hard. You've got to brake just that little bit later, and when you're already braking as late as you can, it's difficult.
So continuing around with Elliot Pinson braking up at the front, the pole sitter. The timing a little bit skewed for us up here in our commentary position, but as far as I can tell from looking at the track, it's always much safer to look at the track than it is to look at the timing anyway.
That's it, yeah.
Pinson's showing us 11th on the timing, but it looks to me as though he's well clear out in front, and there's a separate race going on for second, which is held by James Rose at the moment, ahead of Ryan O'Grady and Will Howarth, who are all tightly packed on the circuit. So a three-way battle for second position as it stands, and then a separate race going on for P5 with Will Howarth at the back of that group in 6th position. So yes, the timing is well and truly out, and I think we're just going to have to abandon that for the rest of the race. But close racing for second, third and fourth, and there's the move.
There
Talk
it
us
is,
through.
Yeah, I mean, he's been lining it up for a few laps now, and I think he's just got a good drive out that first corner and pulled alongside him and just gone a bit later on the brakes and made the lunge.
He was a little bit too bold though, coming through the S's. He left a lot of room on the inside, and still they're going at it almost side by side. Looking over their shoulders, is that a big no-no from your point of view? You want to check on the progress of other riders around you?
To be fair, in these sort of races, yeah, it's good to see where you are, because you don't obviously have a pit board and your mechanics telling you where you are. But when you're up in the superbikes and in the 125s, and when you're up and coming, you have pit boards to show you how far people are behind you, so you shouldn't need to look behind.
Max Cook has made that progress all the way around the outside of James Rose. So Rose, who was the rider who was looking over his shoulder a lap ago, had good cause to do so, as it turned out in the end, because he gets blasted away. And actually, it looks as though now he's going to drop down to 4th position. We're doing this the old way, are trying to identify the number boards as they come past us here in the commentary position. That's Richard Holmes, who's up with them there. Richard Holmes-Williams, who finished 4th in qualifying, who is now up to P3 by my reckoning, and dropping James Rose one position down. So it's Pinson out in front and clear. Max Cook in 2nd position, having made that move on James Rose, and then Rose has dropped behind Richard Holmes-Williams, and that is still the race at the moment. 3rd and 4th positions between the 126 of Holmes-Williams and the 128 of James Rose, who's lost 2 positions, and from the moment he looked behind him, he ended up losing 2 places. And actually, he doesn't seem to have the same pace coming off the turns as the others do. Is that just a question of riding style or positioning of the bike, or how do you view that?
It could be a bit of both. It could be a little bit of corner exit, but I think some of these Honda CRF 150s are actually tuned, and what I've heard, I think James Rose has got a standard engine in, so I think that's played a big part, definitely.
So you're giving him a get out of jail free card there and saying that that's bike rather than man. I'm happy to defer to you on that one as things start to settle down here with Elliot Pinson 4 seconds ahead of Max Cook. Cook setting a new personal best on that last lap, and James Rose trying his very best to gain back lost ground on Richard Holmes-Williams, who sits in third position in this race. And the top four now starting to look settled in this pit bike open category. Gives me another opportunity to have a bit more of a chat with yourself ahead of this season. And well, we're well and truly into it now with 2 rounds completed in terms of the BSB and you know, the context of the championship overall. Have you set yourself any clear targets for what you want out of this season, or is it just a learning year?
It is a learning year for me, but I mean, my targets are to try and walk away every round with some points. That's the main target, and if I can do that, I'll be happy. And if I can scrape into the top 10 in some rounds, then that'd be a big step for me. I mean, at the end of the year, the last sort of few rounds, it'd be nice if I can be up in the top 5, knowing I've got the pace to run with the top boys for next year. But I mean, yeah, for this year there's no pressure. The team has said there's no pressure for you to prove yourself. We know you can ride a bike, so just take it as a learning year and learn how to ride the superbike, learn the electronics and the tyres mainly. So yeah, I mean, I'm just getting my head down and doing my own races and making sure I can set the superbike up and just learning everything. And it's nice to have a teammate like Sylvain Guintoli, who's got the experience on a superbike and he knows how to set a bike up. He's definitely not stupid, that's for sure. So it's nice to have him in the team and learn from him. And it's nice to be on track with the likes of Hopkins and Guintoli and people like that.
How much help do you get though? Because you always talk about the first priority being to beat your teammate. To what extent does everyone really want to assist you, or is it good in that sense?
Yeah, it's good in that sense. I mean, we do help each other. We want to be top Suzuki, and if one rider's faster than the other, then that's how it is. It's not a big thing, and they just want to see a Suzuki up in the top 5 as quick as they can, sort of thing. So, but I mean, it's nice to come away with the first 3 rounds, my first ever superbike race, with some points, and I mean, we can only learn from that.
Talking about the race again and returning to that battle for third position, James Rose set a personal best at one stage to get right on the tail of Richard Holmes-Williams. He got held back for a couple of laps there in traffic, but now that he's been released again, he does clearly have some speed there. A 32 flat on that last lap. Obviously, as I said previously, Richard Holmes-Williams isn't featuring on the timing, so I can't compare it, but just using my eyes, he's down to less than a bike length now in that race for third position, which is the main battle we've got here, with Pinson out in front and clear. Max Cook in second position, having made that electric start, not quite able to capitalise on it because Pinson was the rider to make it away and gone. Pinson, the higher scorer in the championship compared to Cook. He had a 6-point lead coming into this race, and that lead is going to be further extended as he sits up and pretty at the moment. Cook, Rose, that's where the battle is up towards the top end of the field, where actually Richard Holmes-Williams is in the mix there with James Rose as well. So close from second, third and fourth positions, but Elliot Pinson is away and gone. A couple of thoughts more about this 2017 season. I was about to say to you previously that you talk about the team knowing obviously that you're capable of riding a bike. To the media, I suppose it's very easy for us to go new rider, but it's not really new to you in the sense that events like this that you've been doing since you were 6 years old, for example, you certainly know your way around a bike, and it always astonishes me how young riders are entering championships, but the reality is that you've got almost a career behind you already of youth racing.
Yeah, that's it. It's just a big step. Once you can ride a bike, you can ride a bike.
I'm going to interrupt you briefly because diving through down the inside, James Rose has taken that position on the final turn. He just launched it from way back down the inside of the final turn. It was go hard or go home into Paddock Bend, and on that occasion it worked out as go hard, but on another day I think that could have easily been go home.